I figured.
What's round? A circle?
Yeah, technically true, I guess.
Okay.
A balloon. Big old balloon. So Nouns resigned to their base. I mean, surely, we'll see how much PTSD BB Team had because they could obviously just finish this game right now, but there is Roche they could wait for.
I mean, you could also bask in the glory. This is effectively like the last, you know, the last course of the Tour de France where you're just driving around and drinking a glass of champagne because you've already decided that you're the winner of the race.
Yeah.
That's what BetBoom are doing right now.
They're saying goodbye to NA. This is the final hope.
These guys don't drink, so they pop the smoke instead of the cork. And it's time to go.
Will be the recipient of this gank, if you want to call it that. 50 seconds of no buyback, a big overgrowth to Toronto, Tokyo to send NA back home. Nice attempted save there from Fly, but it is not to be. Like we've said, well, it's two Bs twice, actually, because of BB Team. As Gunnar desperately looking for one more kill. GPK
they got one.
Does fall. But it's an ultra kill for Nightfall as the GGs finally come out. And BB Team will continue on while Nouns will not.
5, man.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Okay, so
riveting.
The thing that's worth keeping in mind here, looking forward in the tournament as we do say goodbye to Nouns, first of all, I think in many people's minds, they exceeded expectations. They had a couple of really good series, and this could have been more than what it ended up with. For the side of BB Team, this was a team that people thought might just completely falter after what was a bit of a bad group stage. They've really heated up now, and they look like a team that could go far.
They do. We say that all the time, but we've seen banana bread teams so many times before, Shiver. What do you think now?
Oh, what do I think now about Banana Bread Team, BB Team, moving forward in the lower bracket in the road to the International. Can't wait to see what they can do in the grand stage. That's right, because they now secured themselves a place in Royal Arena, and their opponents we don't know yet. But I do want to point out that for BB Team, there's a chance that their next round is up against Falcons. And for both of those teams, it would be such a disappointment to not be in the top 4 that I'm already imagining the spies. This is if Falcons makes it through. I'm getting way ahead of myself. Let's talk about this game too. It was a little bit of a beatdown, the cost. This was not a pretty picture. It was for BB Team.
It was. They looked great. On their heroes, pretty much no mistakes made in the game. We talked about this being a really bad matchup for Nouns. Bibbidi Bobbidi Team, they did beat Nouns in the groups, having only one kill. And this game is pretty much the same. They had a couple of more kills, but overall, when we see the drafts, this is not a bad draft by any means from Nouns. These are the type of the drafts that had quite a lot of success. If we talk about, Invoker, Tusk, Windrangers, this is a very strong draft. Maybe some things could have been changed, but it comes down to gameplay. I think also a little bit of an inexperience knowing what's on the line, that if they lose the game, they're going to be, eliminated from Road to TI. They're not going to be playing on the main stage, and I think it got into their heads.
Yeah, I think we should call a spade and just say Nouns got completely outclassed here. I mean, this entire game was dependent on the laning stage going well for Nouns. It didn't go well. They got completely outmaneuvered. I mean, they were caught off guard by an early level 2 on that Weaver Treant lane. They give away the first blood, that lane snowballs. Their mid lane went even as it should, and their top lane, which on paper should have won with a potential rotation, just got super pressured by BB Team. And this is what this team is famous for. They are known as the strongest laners out of all of the tier 1 teams that we've watched this year. Every team is terrified to go up against them just because of their laning prowess. And this was Nouns' boon at the end of the day. They just could not recover from that abysmal laning stage.
Yeah, like 10 minutes in, there's a 4k lead already for BB. They've demolished everything. Their 3 cores are sitting at top net worth. They're looking to play the map. They're crushing the map. And yeah, unfortunately for Nouns, we praise them immensely for like the prep they bring to Spirit, but then the series after, it feels like they kind of fell off a little bit, where their prep just wasn't hitting the mark. Like the drafts that we're seeing today, like we know what BB's strong at. It just felt like Nouns didn't try to draft to counter BB's strategy. It felt like they're drafting for themselves, but they just have the the laning prowess, like Effie was mentioning, to be able to bring their own ideas to life. Like I think they had to respect BB a little bit more and try and play into what BB was doing and what makes them such a successful team.
I will also say, I think that this version of BB team that we're seeing in terms of how they played this game and how we saw them playing earlier today already against Talon. It felt like, first of all, it felt like the game could be shorter, but that is credit to BB team. It felt like they gave their opponents today, both teams that they knocked out, they gave them a lot of respect. And I'm slightly distracted by Saika's scoreline of 20-0-13. That's insane.
Pretty good. This guy, he can pop off. Also, this time around, he's not using one of his classic moves. No BKB TPs out. He's using a BKB to take the fights, which results in multiple kills, 20 kills on this guy. This is a mean farm machine. When we talk about certain players, he's always up there, breaking some, GPM records, XP records as well, when he's playing certain heroes that he feels very comfortable, and Weaver is one of those heroes.
Weaver is one of those heroes. Guess what? The Pango that GPK got, that we said might fall off, did not fall off. GPK crushed it, and he is probably also going to crush this interview.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes, indeed, I'm here with GPK, and we're going to have a conversation because this series, I mean, absolutely ridiculous. First series, a little shaky. Next series, very good. How was that to play for you?
Как для тебя прошла эта серия? Вся она в целом была такая очень забавная. Рассказывай.
Ну, против команды... С кем мы играли? Против того, на самом деле, должно было быть 2-0, просто мы вторую игру затровили. Но против Nauns, наверное, это просто для нас очень удобный соперник, поэтому как-то просто вышло.
So when they were playing against Talon, they thought they will have 2-0, but against Nouns, they're just a suitable opponent for them. That's why it ended like this.
Okay, well, very well prepared for this one. Did you feel like you're playing better in the lower bracket? Does that help you guys?
Чувствуете ли, что играете лучше в нижней сетке?
Я думаю, в принципе, когда мы играем в плей-оффе, мы играем лучше, нежели, в group stage.
In general, they do think that they play playoffs better than the group stage.
And why do you think that is? Do you need the stakes to be high for your team to kind of perform at their best?
Как ты думаешь, почему так? Думаешь, что для вас важны эти ставки, чтобы они были выше, чтобы вы играли лучше?
Я думаю, нам нужен именно этот прessure официальных игр, что каждая игра что-то значит, а когда ты играешь в group stage, где, матч ничего не значит, то сложно именно full focus поймать. Для нашей команды так.
So playoffs for them is more significant. That's why they get more focus than in the group stage.
Excellent. So obviously now you've made it to the main stage. Is that going to make you guys play even better? And are you excited to play in the arena?
Теперь вы уже официально на мейн-стейдже, считайте. И как думаете, будете играть еще лучше на арене?
Я думаю, нужно посмотреть, какая арена, а так я уверен, что мы будем играть еще лучше.
Well, let's see how the arena looks, but yeah, he's confident that they'll play better.
I'm sure it's going to look excellent. GPK, thank you very, very much. Best of luck on the rest of the tournament, and back to you, Shiva.
Thank you very much. Can't wait to see the performance in the Royal Arena because BB team does move forward here as there is Team Nouns who is not moving forward. I do feel like we got to give them some credit as well because this series, I feel like Effie wasn't very, very indicative of the impression they left this international.
Yeah, I mean, it is sad to say goodbye to them, but they've done an incredible thing on their way out. They beat Team Spirit 2-0, which are the defending champions of TI. They sent them to lower bracket. They put them in lower bracket with so much competition. And because of what Nouns did, there's a scenario where we just don't see Team Spirit, the defending champion, on the main stage. So they should be proud of themselves. They brought some great Dota. They may have faltered today, but they left an impression on a lot of fans all over the world.
Yeah, most definitely. This is a team that has nothing to be ashamed of. They had some good performances. They fell short in this one. As we said, kind of slightly got figured out. But results, I mean, Team Spirit, this is the biggest upset of the road to the international. Might be the biggest upset of the whole TI. It really depends how it's going to be played out. But these players, they have bright futures ahead of them, that's for sure.
They really do. And for some final words on Nouns, we're heading over to Pyrion, who is standing by with Gunnar.
Yeah, thanks, Sheebs. I am here with Gunnar. Gunnar, that was obviously not the result you guys were wanting, but you were saying that BB team, probably one of the worst matchups you could have come up against in this position. What was so tough about this series?
I think they just have really good lanes, and I feel like in this tournament we've kind of not had the best lanes, but we've played really well post lanes, and yeah, they were in our group. We got 2'd by them in the group, and then now we get 2'd again, so yeah, just hard matchup.
Very tough matchup, but thinking back to better times, you guys 2-0'd Spirit. You took the first game off Gaming Gladiators. You must have thought at that point, we've got a bit of momentum here. Did losing that series to Gaming suck away some of that momentum, do you think, or was it just this matchup that cost you?
I don't know about the momentum. I think the second game versus Gaming kind of hurt because I think we all thought we could have won that game if we made a few different choices. But I don't think we went in today with a bad mentality. I think they just were the better team today.
Fair enough. So looking ahead to next season, obviously, you guys are hopefully going to stick together. I think this is a really good team. What are you hoping to achieve next year?
I mean, I definitely want to make stage at TI. It was really special last year when I made it. So I definitely think for me, it kind of sucks for Cuppy and Yuma because I was really hoping to be able to play on stage with them. But yeah, I think especially the last 2 months, we've worked a lot together. We've improved even through this tournament. I think if you look at us a week ago, we're kind of a different team now. So I would hope that this is the start of everyone just getting a lot better and improving as a team.
Fantastic. I certainly hope so. And I know you guys have a lot of fans that basically the whole NA region had their hopes on you guys. So is there anything that you'd like to say to the NA fans and the Nouns fans?
Thank you guys for supporting us. It means a lot, honestly. And yeah, sorry we didn't get the results you guys wanted, but we'll still keep fighting for NA. And NA Dota is never going to die.
Indeed, and we hope not. Shiva, back to you guys.
And may I just remind you guys that this is a team that for the longest time in this season did not make it out of qualifiers against another North American team and finally made it in one of the most important qualifiers of the year. And I think, this is just the start of their growth because I feel like they haven't had that much time to grow as a team in an international stage.
Yeah, no, I think that's incredibly commendable what they've achieved because to come from a region which unfortunately is relatively starved due to kind of the way that it is set up to then, get here and, 2 years in a row the organization has created upsets, have created the storyline that everyone else remembers. It's because of, what this team does. So again, it's the future's bright and again, I feel like Dota teams nowadays, they don't really do crazy shuffles anymore. So from what Gunner's mentioning, I hope it is true that we at least get to see a core of them stay together because I think that is how you really kind of improve as a team, and fingers crossed that the future of NA is, slowly getting better.
Yeah, and as bright as Gunner indeed says and implies it is. Gunner also mentioned that especially in the laning stage against BB Team, they struggled and Purge would like to take a deeper dive into that point.
That's right, Cheever. Yeah, the laning stage was pretty rough in the second game, and I just wanted to look at some of those examples, why it happened, and how it cascades and ultimately gets you very, very far behind. Yuma, as the Wind Ranger in this match here, had to deal with this cookie combo with Scorched Earth and Inferno Blade. And if they're able to layer the stun from the cookie into the slow from the Scatterblast, all of a sudden Wind Run, all it does is give you evasion, and that's not really enough to keep you alive in that lane. It happened a couple times. Here we are at 6 minutes, 40 seconds. He tries to dodge it once again. The slow comboed with the stun gives a lot, and he ends up having to TP back to Fountain to heal to prevent from dying there. A mere minute later, he again gets dove, this time with Toronto Tokyo rotating around. And Yuma does run away and ultimately disengage, but another minute later, another skirmish happens that looks okay for Nouns at first until, again, a great cookie stuns them all. And he starts getting out of there, realizing that GPK is coming, but he gets ran down again. So just gank after gank and pressure after pressure, and he does dodge some of them, but ultimately it ends up being a lot. And then on the other side of the map, this is a crucial moment for Gunner. He did get killed in the first blood. Watch what's happening. This little creep here is getting kind of low, and he wants to secure it to guarantee some golden experience. He ends up burrow striking forwards to get the last hit while harassing the Weaver, but unfortunately his opponents hit level 2 right before he does, and that unlocks the bugs for the Weaver, and they get the nice rundown with the blood grenade, so that costs him a lot. Weaver ends up getting a ton of net worth, and ultimately that translates to a super fast Gleipnir. 15 minutes. It's really fast, but Shiva, this is not as fast as Hector's 13-minute Gleipnir, so it could have been better.
Is anything as fast? Did you know that Hector got a 13-minute Gleipnir? It's impressive, to say the least. Yeah, I did as well. Thank you very much, Purge. As we see BB Team moving forward here in the lower bracket, they look at the moment a little bit like a Grim Reaper here. The cost?
Yeah, most definitely. Also, I wasn't listening. I kind of zoned out.
I was
You
gonna
look
ask
like
you
a
some
Grim
questions.
Reaper. I heard Grim Reaper. BB team. Oh yeah, most definitely. This is the Grim Reaper himself. Saika, aka Nightfall. This is the guy that is going to take you far in the tournament if you secure his laning stage. And he's very aggressive. He's super aggressive. You can see some XPM. Dyrachyo is up there because Dyrachyo is popping off. But for BB team, this is the team that we expected to go far. We always do. But they need to make this miraculous run through the lower bracket. And so far, so good for them.
So far, so good.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, they are a top tier team, but I do want to say that even today's games that they played, while they did look very sharp, very strong in their drafts, and very strong in their laning, they did not close out games at the pace that they could have, with the exception of maybe a few that
I think
come
it's
to
too
mind.
safe?
I would say so, because that's something that BB team have been criticized for over the entire year, is that they don't make any high risk, high reward plays. They'll play a more disciplined, they'll play for a later stage in the game. Even in this game 2 versus Nouns, they were crushing them in net worth, and it took them a really long time to close it out. Versus Talon, the same thing can be said, where they even made a key mistake with no buybacks, which led them to being stomped. So while they still do have all of their individual strengths and their powerful laning, I still haven't seen them play confident enough to close out games early the way that Gaimin do, another strong laning team.
I mean, just the lower bracket, they got to go through maybe Falcons. If Falcons beat 1W, after that, then they might have to go up against a Tundra or a Gaimin. After that, it's maybe Extreme or a Spirit or a Liquid or a C9. It's the journey to get to a good position for any team now in the low bracket. It's it can't. I don't know. I don't want to say it, but no, it's yeah.
It must be one of the spiciest lower brackets we've seen.
We've ever had. Yeah.
Based on the year form, often in lower brackets, it's 1 or 2 teams did well, but this year we've had 3 or 4 teams do extremely well. We've had strong teams hold it their own, and it's you can see it here, right? Let's say Tundra Gaming dropped down, right? For BB to do well, or even Falcons to do well, you have to overcome teams that have consistently had top 2 or top 3 finishes. This is probably one of the hardest journeys to get there. And if Spirit is to make the run that Nouns created, because they put them into the lower bracket, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lower bracket games into a best of 5 game. The journey to get to the grand finals is intense for any team now in the low bracket.
Yeah, we also saw already with Spirit and Extreme, one of them won't even make it to the Royal Arena. It's a crazy run, a crazy competition, a great competition. And you know what also is a great competition? The short film contest. And earlier today, you were already able to see a submission there when Nat introduced it. There's another one coming your way. Stop toxic tipping.
Tipping started as a compliment, but quickly became toxic. Even spreading into the real world. Bringing out the worst of mankind. Hurting the weakest heralds and the greatest immortals. Turning men into bullies. But even the mighty fall eventually. And from the ashes of humiliation, rise as a hero, seeking redemption. On a quest to end their toxic... Whoa, chill, relax. Chill, dude. What are you doing? No, don't do it. That's just normal tipping, man. This TI, we can stop toxic tipping. No, don't do it. God damn it. Not all types of tipping. Jesus.
I love the extra effort put in the names of the people that tip. It's very satisfying to watch that. And I just want to have a quick poll here. I myself am a positive tipper. Lacoste.
I'm a changed man. Back in the days, there would be, a lot of this old chatting, toxicity, rivalry. But now, It's all about that PMA mentality, have a good laugh with the buddies, make friends in the community. But I'm still down, especially in the professional scene. I'm all down for this toxic tipping, voice lines, a little bit of all chatting, nothing too crazy, because that's always been part of Dota. I mean, when we talk about, some of that toxicity, the question mark when you're denying, it gets into your head when you're denying. It definitely does. We've seen what OG did with the usage of the voice lines.
That's true.
I'm a retaliatory tipper. Means I am peaceful, I'm still until I'm tipped. Then I.
Oh, there we go. The flip.
No, but that's the laws of physics right there. Okay, that is inertia. You've tipped me, and you've begun. You are the one who unlocked the tipping battle. So when I get tipped, I wait until the game looks good enough. I still don't want to lose.
Yeah. Make sure.
But I'll remember. I will remember who tipped me, and I will get in there.
It also depends how many games in a row you did lose. If you're like on a 7-lose streak, you might tip back immediately. You might get it out. But if you're on a win streak, you're just there chilling. Hands off keyboard. You can't hurt me.
Positive tipper?
MMR means literally everything, all right? I recently got, to like mid 10K, the journey there. I'm playing my games. If I see something, an opportunity to help me win that MMR, I see someone who doesn't use repel, boom, get a tip, continue on. That person now thinks I didn't hit repel and I didn't get tip and their carry's annoyed and they might give up, boom. Effective tipping helps you win literally everything.
We
Not
found
heroes
the
tipping.
toxic tipper.
No, a bit. No, to be fair though, I don't really tip, but it's like depending on the situation, it feels good. I think I'm with Effie though. Like if they tip me first, I'll do everything in my power to like ping a facet, do a voice line, hit a tip. But it's like if you unlock it, I'm there, but I won't start it.
I know there's someone who really likes toxic tipping, and he's going to be featured in our upcoming Best of 3. Another lower bracket series coming your way. We earlier today saw 1W beat Team Zero. They eliminated them, and therefore they earned the right to go up against Falcons, who are in the lower bracket. And I want to talk a little bit about Falcons because, first of all, yes, they're in the lower bracket. Second of all, I do think that Amar does like tipping a little bit.
Yeah, he's, I wouldn't say OG of the tipping, but he kind of invented some of the new stuff. This guy was dropping the mantles, like he took it to a next level, and I'm always going to give him respect for that. It's always fun to watch. They create, this kind of a environment where it is okay to do it, but once they start losing, a lot of other teams will also start tipping them and everything. So it creates a tipping meta, which I really like.
Yeah, but the thing with Falcons is I feel that most teams that go against them and get tipped by Amar, they are amused enough by him to partake. Like, maybe it was taken a bit personally at the start of his career, but now people just see it as part of his personality, and he actually brings out the spice from teams we don't see doing it very often. Like Extreme Gaming, when they play against Amar, the tips are out, the pauses are out. It seems like they're having fun in that all chat.
It also helps a lot that he can take it as much as he can dish out, which is very positive. And it does indeed just bring out a little bit of extra banter, as we also are bringing out the draft between these two teams. 1W and Team Falcons, they had such a vastly different year. And Tigov, they're up against each other. I have to ask, it looks David and Goliath. I feel like we've been here before.
Yeah, we have. Falcons has been in this position, well, not in this low bracket position too often, but their worst placement in the entire year was 3rd place. They have played a ton of games to be at TI. Of course, they played 211. 1W, not making it through qualifiers, getting to maybe the odd event or here. They played half the games. But interestingly enough, 1W has the same hero pool amount as Falcons. Falcons basically perfected what they wanted to do. And rinse repeat, 1st place, 2nd place, 1st place, 1st place, 1st place, 3rd place, 1st place. Like, they've done everything. Whilst 1W, even at this TI, they're in like the top 3 teams for like hero versatility. They're still trying to find like what is their recipe for success. And again, you could see it through the stats now.
You could really, really see it. Also a reminder that both teams at the moment have secured top 12. Winning here will secure top 8. And as you just heard from Tiga, Falcons is 1st places, 2nd places, 3rd places. That's basically all they've had. So for this team to not make it to that final day would be seen as a disappointment. We'll see how hard they swing here against 1W, who is, as we saw, obviously the least experienced team, the lesser experienced team. And we already have the opening picks. Falcons come out with the Tusk. We have the Monkey King coming out again, Effie, in the first phase.
Yeah, these two picks aren't surprising. Some of the most popular heroes in this tournament. I do want to say, though, that while 1W did look good earlier today versus Team Zero, they kind of had a really good draft in those games where it felt like they played off of it easily and won. But in other games that I've watched 1W, it really feels like after the laning stage, they lose all sense of identity. Like, it takes them to make a confident play or do map play, and they just default to farming very often. They will default to just trying to get their carry to, a critical mass and play off of that, and that would be very bad for them matchup-wise versus Falcons, who are all about map play.
I mean, you kind of described like a tier 2 team to a tier 1 team, right? Like a tier 2 team, if they win their lanes and the draft dictates like the natural map progression of Take Towers or Roshan, they are skilled enough to follow that through. If they don't hit that beat, then they struggle trying to find like the plan B. They seem to have to like find it during the game, and that's where you kind of have moments of brilliance way down the line. Of course, Falcons and other teams like this, they don't often need to think because they've played so many games that it's second nature. If things are going wrong, they already know the next 3 steps to fix the game.
And what Effie mentioned, like they had the most success when they played these type of drafts, where they are playing for Munkushi. Pretty much the only big team that they did manage to beat so far at Road to the International was Extreme Gaming. They did lose, I would say, pretty convincingly to all other teams. If we look at the Cloud9, they played against Gaming Gladiators as well. They didn't look too crisp. These are like 30-plus minute games, but in most of these games, you could feel where the game's gonna shift after like 15-ish, 20, and it takes them another 10-15 minutes to close out the game. And this is their bread and butter, pretty much, this Wind Ranger. Munkushi plays it really well, and I want to slightly touch upon the bans that Team Falcons did. I see this Leshrac coming into the tournament. I expected this hero to be picked up more, but never did happen. They do have good win rate with the Leshrac. They did run it 2 times on a support role as well, which I did expect to be picked up more, but they are the only ones who kind of, I would say, are not familiar with meta that did develop, so they're still playing some of the strong heroes coming into Road to TI that they practiced in the pubs. So I want to see how Team Falcons will respond to that other than the banning.
Probably just a Mirana of their own on Team Falcons. The Kunkka does come out, which is a very popular hero for all of the damage mitigation and also offlane pressure. X plus a very strong position 4 like Batrider can result in a lot of kills, especially versus heroes like Wind Ranger that are mobility dependent. You just X her back after she win runs, you can beat her up.
And with the Batrider, you have like repositioning tools. I see these like 3 heroes. This to me looks like a Team Spirit draft from Team Falcons. They've been very successful with these heroes. Wind Ranger, if this is a core Wind Ranger, you don't like to play against bad BKB piercing ability. You have 9 seconds of Whirlwind, so you want to get stuff done. You get punched for a second and a half. On top of that, maybe about damage mitigation. Their damage is going to be in trouble. Same goes for Monkey. He doesn't like to play in any of these heroes.
It's just very defensive as well, right? If the game does get difficult, Snowball saves, you got the damage mitigation from the Kunkka that you're mentioning, the Batrider. It's actually scary to try and find moves into this lineup if you aren't just 5,000-10,000 gold ahead, because at any minute they are going to turn around the gank, hide behind the tree line, and punish you trying to jump in. Also, they like to buy Solar Crest. Like on Tusk, he can buy Solar Crest. Batrider support, we've seen some go Solar Crest and Blink. Some just go Blink 4 stuff and ignore it anyways, but you have ways to also prevent the early physical damage that Windrunner and Monkey King want to bring to the game.
I never liked when you have 2 cores who are dealing same type of damage. Sure, there is some magical with your Power Shot, your Maelstrom Gleipnir procs, but most of the damage is going to be physical, and you're playing into meta where Crimson Guard and Solar Crest are one of the most popular items. You have damage mitigation from Kunkka again, so it feels kind of like you're shooting yourself in the foot with these 2 picks. Sure, you can maybe flex some of these heroes to position 4, but I do think that these heroes are strongest when played from position 1 and position 2, so I wouldn't like to see them changing it much.
Yeah, the flex here wouldn't be great either, because it's not like you're flexing them into a good support matchup. So you're not going to be winning versus Tusk or Batrider. And the clock comes out. This is probably Wind Ranger's laning partner. The issue with this clock for me is it just doesn't really trade well on this lane versus Kunkka Bat. Like, it is a body to protect Wind Ranger, but it doesn't win the lane for her. Like, Batrider is very safe in those power cogs, and Kunkka just, if he stands on a creep wave, he's not threatened at all by Clock's presence. So this lane that really needs to win for 1W to justify this very early Wind Ranger with no potential flex from mid.
Yeah, I think this Clockwork was a bit of a mispick here. It's not good against Tusk. It's not good against Batrider. Maybe you want to pair like they needed something. Some of these stronger position 5s that can be paired up with the Wind Ranger. I think there were other options. I would prefer, Marcy, but they seems like they do have a little bit of a pocket picks here with the Pugna. These two teams they've never met in this year. These are like newly formed teams when they were called Klim Sonic back then, but they still like never played against each other.
So Sweden Strong's been playing some Pugna position 4, and in this type of game where we're seeing decent lane with Clock Windrunner, we've seen Monkey King naturally want to play into the map. Pugna can help break down the map. You start taking the early towers, you go for the siphoning ward, which when the Never Ward does damage to enemies from casting spells, it actually heals the